Although the hardcore pawn cast appeared to be a close-knit group on film, their personal lives were tumultuous, tragic, and full of heartache. The hardcore pawn crew encountered challenges they never could have imagined, from the sudden cancellation of the show to the tension in front and behind the cameras. However, what led to these heartbreaking conclusions, and how did the actors handle the disappointments? Come along as we reveal the heartbreaking conclusion of Hardcore Beginnings, a hardcore pawncast member. A unique event started in Detroit in 1978. American Jewelry and Loan was founded by Les Gold, a man with a lofty vision. This was a new chapter in his family's history, as well as a new business. Les was motivated to construct something even bigger by his grandpa, who had a modest pawn shop on Michigan Avenue. He found a location on Detroit's Greenfield Road and, with perseverance and hard work, opened what would grow to be one of the nation's largest pawn shops. American Jewelry and Loans began as a location where customers could buy what they wanted, pawn their belongings, or find valuable products at reasonable costs. With its colorful stories, the store was lively and bustling. Every day, clients from various backgrounds came in. Some are looking for help, some are in urgent need of money, and some are relishing the thrill of finding undiscovered treasures. The shop exuded energy and hope despite its lack of extravagance. The store kept growing as time went on. Les and his family collaborated closely, managing the company as though it were a live entity that required continual care. They developed close relationships with their clients and frequently knew them by name. They were worried about more than just making money. They cherished the individuals, their narratives, and the potential to offer second chances. Globally, people were beginning to take pleasure in viewing reality shows about actual companies. One well-liked program was History Channel's Pawn Stars, which chronicled a family-run Las Vegas pawn business. Viewers enjoyed learning about the day-to-day activities of the pawn store. As a result, True TV and Discovery Channel wanted to produce their own rough, unvarnished versions of the same program. Richard Dominic, a television producer, saw an advertisement for American Jewelry and Loan. It was a simple advertisement, but it caught his attention. Les Gold and his family's history appealed to him. In contrast to the glitzy depiction on Pawn Stars, Dominic thought their grimy pawn store may provide a distinctive viewpoint on the business. He approached Les with the idea of creating a television program. Les was initially skeptical of the idea. It seemed strange to him that cameras were always filming him and his family. He feared that it would be too much to handle, and that people would be critical of them. But after giving it some thought, Les made the decision to take a chance. In order to capture the lively environment, drama, and emotions that transpired in the business on a regular basis, they produced a pilot episode. On August 16, 2010, Hardcore Pawn had its True TV premiere and quickly became popular. The drama, arguments, and difficulties that people faced when attempting to retrieve their possessions or sell goods for cash captivated the public. Many people could relate to the show's portrayal of the harsh truths of life, which were rarely shown on television. The show had difficulties at first, but it soon gained popularity. Some feared it presented Detroit in a bad light. Detroit was already facing negative reputation, and now a television program was highlighting its most challenging features. Critics cast doubt on the show's veracity, speculating that certain scenes might have been embellished for more entertainment value. Some believed it to be unrealistically dramatic. Behind the scenes, the Gold family had personal struggles. It was challenging for them to be watched by cameras every day. They missed their former seclusion. Now, millions of people could observe their disagreements and business choices. In order to keep the show entertaining, they occasionally felt pressured to be more theatrical. They were challenged in unexpected ways as they adapted to this new way of life. American Jewelry and Loans remained true to its founding principles in the face of all the difficulties. Operating as a family-run enterprise, it continued to help those in need. Millions of viewers throughout the world were able to enjoy some of the store's magic because of Hardcore Pawn. The narrative of the American Jewelry and Loan demonstrates that modest beginnings can lead to big things. After one individual opened a store in Detroit, it developed into a well-liked television program that had a significant influence on many people. The company never wavered from its commitment to family, hope, and the belief that each person and thing has a special narrative to tell, even in the face of challenges and new chances. How did Hardcore Pawn become well known? What was unique about the show? The Gold family's glittering ascent. Nobody anticipated Hardcore Pawn's rapid rise in popularity when it first appeared on TRV. It quickly rose to prominence as one of the network's most popular programs. The everyday events of American Jewelry and Loan were viewed by a large number of people, which contributed to its enormous success. Even the cast members were surprised by the show's peak viewership, which reached over 3 million viewers per episode. The growing popularity of the show did more than increase TV ratings. Additionally, it brought in a large number of new clients for American Jewelry and Loan. People traveled from all over to see the well-known pawn shop they had seen on television. Sales for the company increased significantly. Every day, there were more people buying and selling goods. Detroit as a whole seems to be following the Gold family story. The primary person in charge, Les Gold, seized this exciting chance to increase his level of success. For what it's worth, Business Advice from a Pawnbroker is the title of the book he wrote. The book, which gave readers a glimpse of the priceless lessons he learned over his many years in the field, became a huge hit. The success of the book gave him further possibilities, and his admirers loved hearing about his experiences and advice. The demand for the show's t-shirts, mugs, and other memorabilia caused merchandise sales to soar. Les and his family began touring to inspire others with their experience and deliver lectures. They gained additional recognition by participating in events, interviews, and national media coverage. As they acquired prominence, the Detroit Gold family became well known both locally and internationally. Everywhere Les, Ashley, and Seth went, people began to recognize them. Seth and Ashley in particular had a large following. While older followers appreciated their dedication to the family enterprise, younger viewers admired their brilliance. Due to the success of Hardcore Pawn, the Gold family was featured on major television programs, such as Fox Business and Good Morning America. Through these appearances, the family expanded their brand and reached new audiences, becoming well-known TV celebrities rather than just pawnbrokers. The family stayed loyal to their roots despite everything that transpired. As eagerly as they had in the start, they continued to manage American Jewels and Loan. Their wealth and notoriety did not change who they were. Rather, they used their successes to grow their company, share their expertise, and bring the pawnbroking sector back to life. The Gold family story is about putting in a lot of effort, choosing wisely, and making a simple idea successful. Their story demonstrates that anyone can realize their goals with perseverance, hard work, and a little bit of luck. The program did, however, face several difficulties. Hardcore Pawn's unseen hardships. The humor, drama, and excitement of Hardcore Pawn delighted millions of viewers. But the truth behind the scenes wasn't always as exciting. The show faced a number of challenging obstacles as its popularity grew. Even while many people adored the show, there were moments that showed a darker side to the narrative. The idea that many of the scenes were not really real was one of the main criticisms leveled at the program. Some critics and viewers thought the fights, disputes, and strange patrons might have been staged to boost the show's entertainment value. Rumor had it that a lot of the scenes were staged or fabricated to keep the audience interested. Some fans were disappointed because they believed that the show did not truly portray the day-to-day reality at American Jewelry and Loan, even though reality shows frequently exaggerate the drama. Another problem with Hardcore Pawn was that it presented Detroit negatively. The city, which was already struggling economically, was often shown as the backdrop for the most emotional scenes in the play. Critics claimed that by transforming actual hardships into entertainment, the program took advantage of Detroit's problems. The broadcast received criticism for concentrating solely on the chaos and challenges rather than showcasing the tenacity and resolve of the city's citizens. Some viewers felt concerned about this portrayal because they thought Detroit deserved more respect than what was shown. More legal problems surfaced as the store gained popularity. Some consumers chose to file a lawsuit, claiming they had unpleasant experiences and were mistreated. The Gold family found it difficult to protect their company from the unfavorable publicity the litigation brought to the store. People were interested in Ashley and Seth's relationship on the show. They frequently disagreed on business matters, which led to furious arguments and emotional outbursts. While some felt there was real tension between them, others claimed their confrontations were staged for the show. Ashley and Seth reportedly argued off camera as well, since their business collaboration and familial ties didn't mesh well. These conflictual scenes, whether actual or over the top, gave the program reality and kept viewers interested. The pawn shop's popularity and success didn't stop the family and employees from fighting more and more. Personal relationships were occasionally overlooked in favor of commercial concerns as the company expanded. Running a pawn business is never easy, but it was made even more difficult by the fact that you had to do it under continual observation. When personal well-being and business decisions clashed, family disputes resulted. The importance of each choice increased, raising feelings. Stress was brought on the staff changes, when well-liked workers like Big Joe and Rich Pyle left. When fans were let go or placed in awkward situations, they were shocked and unhappy. Both on the show and in their real business, the Gold family faced difficulties as a result of their absence. It was a personal loss in addition to a business one. Without them, the store didn't feel complete. The continual filming and pressure to do well had worn out the actors and crew. It's difficult to be under public scrutiny all the time. Their energy levels suffered as a result of the lengthy hours they put in to make the program exciting. Both joyful and tense moments were captured on camera, although the weariness of those engaged was not always evident. Every amusing scene or dispute was the result of a bunch of dedicated people balancing their personal lives, careers, and notoriety. In the show's climax, Hardcore Pawn gave viewers an intriguing look into a busy Detroit pawn shop, while also revealing a deeper narrative. It demonstrated actual difficulties, difficult choices, and the strain of upholding one's celebrity position. The people involved were coping with personal issues that couldn't be adequately depicted on television. Even though the show amused and shocked viewers, what might have led to the show's demise, given its quick rise? Were the Fishers just too great to contain? The kind farewell of Hardcore Pawn. The popular reality show Hardcore Pawn began to wane after years of being memorable and entertaining. In the 5th and 6th seasons, viewers started to detect a change. With déjà vu-like plotlines, the once exciting episodes began to seem monotonous. The characters' emotional interactions seemed contrived and phony. The drama, which was once a major component of the show's appeal, seemed manufactured and lacked the initial spark that made the series unique. According to some devoted viewers, changes were taking on behind the scenes as fans began to lose interest. The network that had previously given Hardcore Pawn its entire backing, True TV, started to take a new tack. Comedy began to take precedence over conventional reality shows on the network. Due to this change in approach, programs like Hardcore Pawn, which were well liked in the early days of reality TV, were no longer in line with the network's objectives. The program, which formerly drew sizable audiences, gradually began to seem out of place on actual television. Hardcore Pawn continued to air for a few more seasons, in spite of its dwindling viewership. After years of presenting their life and business, the Gold family kept up their efforts to produce interesting episodes. But by the 9th season, the show's future was in question. Hardcore Pawn abruptly came to an end in 2015, without making any major announcements or saying goodbye. Devoted followers who have come to love the pawn shop's atmosphere and personalities were left perplexed. It took some time before the show's star, Les Gold, admitted that the series was, in fact, coming to an end. The Gold family and their well-known Detroit store, American Jewelry and Loan, continued to operate even after the camera ceased recording. The store kept up its customary client service. The family retreated from the limelight and returned to managing their company. Even though they made fewer appearances on TV, the store continued to be a busy community center, just as it had been before the show made them famous. Hardcore Pawn's story is distinctive and unforgettable. It centers on real people going through real hardships, in a field that captivated millions of people. Those who had witnessed the Gold family's experiences were profoundly affected by the presentation. Even though it concluded without much notice, Hardcore Pawn didn't need a spectacular demise, because its legacy endured, because to the family's commitment, the clients they catered to, and the day-to-day operations of a Detroit pawn shop. While some cast members began new chapters in their lives, others faced heartbreak, had to make tough decisions, or just chose to live a life away from the spotlight. Les Gold. Les Gold was the shop's focal point. He was the fearless boss and the calm voice in a tumultuous corporate world. Les was able to keep the family firm thriving in Detroit's difficult market for many years by negotiating tough deals with even tougher people. However, a shocking rumor started making the rounds online in April 2023. According to reports, Les was dead. Supporters were sad. As people paid tribute to their memories, old program video surfaced again. It spread so fast that even those close to Les received frantic calls. But the truth was very different. Full of energy and excitement, Les appeared in a TikTok video alongside his son, Seth Gold. Les waved and smiled, telling everyone that he was not only alive but also feeling great. It was a simple and kind way to stop the rumors. Les showed once again that he was as strong as ever in the face of the upsetting false information, refusing to back down from even the most ridiculous stories the internet could spread. He was a steadfast symbol of strength for his devoted followers and family. Ashley Gold. Les's daughter Ashley Gold was the shop's vivacious lifeblood. Sharp, bold, and quick to respond, she never shied away from a challenge. But beyond her tough exterior, Ashley carried a heavy burden. Her health was beginning to suffer from the constant strain of the performance and the business. Ashley decided that a change was required, one that prioritized her health and the health of her loved ones. Emotionally, she decided to leave American Jewelry and Loan and step back from the spotlight. Ashley knew it was the right choice, even though it was a tough one. Ashley put her energies into new projects after leaving the store. She launched her own jewelry website, Pawn Chick Shopping. It allowed her to continue making jewelry the way she wanted to, which was a love of hers. Additionally, she started a podcast called Pawn Chick Radio, where she presented interviews, stories, and observations. Despite leaving the bustling pawn shop, Ashley built a more peaceful, contented existence centered around her hobbies and family. Her experience served as a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing to do is to take a step back. One of the most well-known characters on Hardcore Pawn was Seth Gold, Ashley Gold's younger brother and Lays Gold's child. He began learning the pawn industry at an early age, and eventually rose to a senior role at American Jewelry and Loan. Seth was praised throughout the program for his sharp mind, astute business sense, and calm manner, all of which often contrasted with the more rowdy personalities around him. As Extreme Pawn gained popularity, Seth became a well-liked figure. Offstage, however, the pressures of reality TV and the constant scrutiny began to wear him down. Seth started to feel the need to explore more in his life outside of the pawn shop. Even though the family business was still doing well, Seth decided to step back from the spotlight after the program was over. Instead of seeking notoriety, he subtly shifted his focus to using creative strategies to grow the family business. He adopted modern marketing strategies and helped American Jewelry and Loan expand their clientele. He also used social media to interact with clients in a fresh and interesting way. Seth continued to work in the pawn industry, but he also made time for personal development. He began speaking at events, imparting his knowledge to entrepreneurs and business owners who looked up to him. For his commitment, he was recognized with numerous honors, including Detroit's 40 Under 40 list and the National Pawnbrokers Association's Pawnbroker of the Year award. Seth's journey after the show was far more quiet and introspective than that of some of his co-stars, who faced public issues. He didn't try to get famous on reality TV again. He focused instead on living a life that fulfilled him away from the limelight. He is still working in the pawn industry now. However, he lives by his values and appears to lead a more peaceful and meaningful life. Pyle Rich. Rich Pyle, the easygoing manager who kept the store running even during its wildest moments, would be instantly recognizable to hardcore pawn viewers. Rich was a mainstay of American Jewelry and Lending for 25 years, trusted by the Gold family and treasured by customers. But the atmosphere grew tense in the background. Rumors circulated about performance problems and internal tensions. In the end, Rich was fired. After many years of commitment and hard work, the separation was excruciating. But Rich refused to let the failure define who he was. He set out on exciting new adventures. He became the host of the National Geographic show Meltdown, in which he turned trash into treasures. By launching his clothing line, Rich also embraced his love of fashion. Rich continued to succeed by following his passions, despite life taking him away from the familiar counters of the pawn store. His tale proved that endings can sometimes signal the beginning of a whole new journey. Joel Big Joe Shannon. Joel Big Joe Shannon, the intimidating chief of security, was another well-known figure whose presence and size could calm even the most rowdy customers. But underneath his tough exterior, problems were showing. When Big Joe was caught stealing scrap gold while working at the shop, the Gold family was compelled to fire him for his unexpected betrayal. Legal problems soon followed, and the once dependable security head suffered serious consequences. After leaving Hardcore Pawn, Big Joe concentrated on starting over. He founded the Livonia, Michigan-based company High Gear Transportation. Big Joe chose not to fade away in shame, despite the unfortunate ending to his television career. Instead, he worked hard to create something novel, showing that there is always a way forward even in the face of failure. Felix Teichmann is being fielded. Fielding Felix Teichmann brought a laid-back charm to the competitive world of Hardcore Pawn with his long beard and calm manner. Up to the 6th season of the show, he was a part of the shop security staff. Unlike some of his former coworkers, Felix chose to live a life of quiet seclusion. He moved away from the cold streets of Detroit to Austin, Texas, after the show. There, he avoided the spotlight and chose a calmer, more peaceful life away from the blazing lights. Fans might envision Felix enjoying a more relaxed existence, a well-earned reward after years of negotiating the turmoil and difficulties of the pawn industry. Even though little is known about his daily schedule today, Janiak, Bobby, another upbeat character from the program, was Bobby Janiak, a vibrant and eager employee who always seemed ready to smile and dive into the ruckus. In 2016, Bobby decided it was time for a change of pace and left American Jewelry alone. He wasn't inactive for particularly long. Bobby displayed a wide range of skills. While competing in the car-focused reality show Wrench Wars, he created a whole new online fan base by interacting on TikTok, Twitch, and even OnlyFans, welcoming the growing world of digital platforms. Bobby's story served as a reminder that sometimes believing in yourself is the best thing you can do. Bobby found ways to enjoy his hobbies and interact with followers by pursuing a variety of artistic endeavors. Hooksteiger, C.N. Carneal Hooksteiger, the security guard known for his love of practical jokes and pranks, was too good to ignore. His upbeat manner helped him control the daily chaos at the store, and many patrons grew to love his lighthearted nature. Hook quietly departed Hardcore Pawn after appearing in its 9th season. Unlike others, he chose to stay close to home, continuing to live in Detroit, Michigan. He distanced himself from society, preferring solitude and a more peaceful lifestyle. Those who remember Hook from the program still smile at the fun he brought to the usually somber world of pawnbrokering, even if he no longer performs his gags for a national audience. Despite its shortcomings, what overall influence has the show had? Hardcore Pawn's legacy. Hardcore Pawn swiftly rose to prominence in the reality TV industry. After debuting on TRV in August 2010, the show gave viewers an up-close look at the hectic workings of a big pawn shop and was set in American Jewelry and Loan in Detroit. Les, Seth, Ashley, and the Gold family were shown to viewers as they managed the business and the various clients that came in. One of the most popular series premieres on Triu TV. Hardcore Pawn not only delighted viewers, but also revealed a more nuanced side of reality, with its candid and unvarnished portrayal of these interactions. The program demonstrated the tenacity and resourcefulness of Detroit's citizens during its economic hardships. In addition to pawning goods, customers went to American Jewelry and Loan to take care of urgent financial needs, like food and rent. When finances were tight, many people turned to pawning their belongings to cover necessities. When traditional banks are not an option for those in marginalized neighborhoods who need urgent cash, the show highlighted the importance of pawn shops as financial options. Hardcore Pawn's popularity prompted the creation of spin-offs, the most well-known of which was Hardcore Pawn Chicago, which debuted in 2013. The Royal Pawn Shop in Chicago, which is owned and operated by brothers Randy and Wayne Cohen, was the focus of this program. It attempted to replicate the original show's structure by emphasizing the shop's everyday operations, client disputes, and employee relationships, but it lacked the same enduring effect. Hardcore Pawn Chicago couldn't duplicate the unique ambiance and audience involvement that the original Detroit-based series had managed. Therefore, it ended after just one season. Hardcore Pawn was popular, but it was also controversial. The show's promotion of unfavorable stereotypes about Detroit and the pawn industry alarmed some observers. They believed that by showcasing too many disputes and dire circumstances, it degraded the city's image. Rumors circulated that certain client interactions may have been faked to add drama to the performance, which made others doubt its validity. As a result of these worries, viewers began to wonder how much of the show was for entertainment purposes and how much was true. But Hardcore Pawn had a significant influence on reality television. It provided insight into the world of pawn shops and demonstrated their significance to a large number of Americans. The show made the industry look less nasty and more relatable by highlighting the struggles and resilience of everyday individuals. It provided a fair assessment that acknowledged the challenges clients encounter and the helpful assistance provided by pawn shops. The Gold family tale continues even when the television program concluded in 2015. They continue to serve the community in Detroit with their pawn shop, American Jewelry and Loan. As the company has expanded, it now provides online services and has created new facilities to better serve its clientele. The show's perseverance is reflected in the family's commitment to change and community service. To put it simply, Hardcore Pawn was more than just a violent reality show. It recounted tales of community ties, survival, and the range of emotional events that take place at a pawn shop. It had a long-lasting effect on reality TV and conversations about American resiliency, dignity, and economic hardship.